know if you or I want anything more than to experience the Lord's kingdom. And we want Him to use us in His kingdom. And so it's awesome to be here to share together and what God has done and what He's doing. And let's just go ahead and have a prayer. How does that sound? Heavenly Father, we thank you so much for your blessings. We thank you for who you are. We're thankful that we have a God like you that came for us, that wants a relationship with us, wants to save us. And so we just ask today that we'll lean on you, that we will listen to your word and your guidance in our lives, Lord. In your name we pray. Amen. Amen. So, the giving today, want to give or praise God with your giving. There's a box over there by the registrar's door that put money in, or even mark the envelope with a pen, pencil, what you want your giving to go towards specifically. If you don't mark the envelope, it goes directly to what's going on here to provide this type of thing for the community, for us. Anyway, announcements. I don't have actually an announcement unless I just based on something. Is there anybody here maybe that's had remember something? We have
So I won't put that on the back of my shirt.
It doesn't really have a clip.
I'll set it in my pocket.
Yeah, exactly. Just stick in your pocket. Thank you.
A last minute thing, but yeah, I had some things happening this week.
It'll be beautiful.
Thank you. A whole bunch of keys. It's a whole bunch of key rings. So if anybody's lost like a whole bunch of keys on one key ring, please let me know. Because I found it over there at the bus stop last Wednesday. So there's just a bunch of keys that I found. So if anybody lost a bunch of keys around that day, just let me know. I have them at my apartment.
We have a Bible here that has been here for several weeks. Okay.
All right, let's continue to sing, all right? Who am I? Or who you say I am? have her leg though. In a good way.
Whatever.
We can't hear you guys. You
Thank that we see you doing here in this community, in our lives. May this be our praise and our worship, Lord, to you, that you may be glorified. And as Tom speaks to us today, Lord, use him as you already have used him so many times, Lord, to just share with us what you have put in his life and on his heart, Lord. In your name we pray. Amen.
Morning. Everybody wide awake and happy to be here?
Oh, I have to be here, yeah.
Okay, that's half the battle. So, last night I was talking with Dale. We were finishing up and we were talking with a gentleman here, and he looks at me and he says, so you want to speak tomorrow? And I said, no. And I thought about it for a little bit. And I got in the truck, we were going home, and I texted him and I said, well, do you have anybody speaking tomorrow? And he said, no, but it'll work itself out. And I said, so I texted him back and I said, all right, I'll do it. And so what I want to talk to you about this morning are blessings, right? And we hear that all the time. And blessings come in many shapes and forms, and I've learned this. So last Sunday at Love Boat, Tim was leading, and blessings, we talked about blessings, and I sat through this whole Love Boat, and I participated a little bit. And towards the end of the conversation, Jarrett had said, blessings come wrapped in burden. And I was like, wow, that's deep, right? I didn't really think anything, but that was deep, you know? And so I left Love Boat, and Wednesday, I'm scrolling through Facebook like we all do, and I see it again. Jared had posted it on Facebook. Blessings come wrapped in burden. And I was like, man, there's something to that. So I have a friend of mine who's going through some really tough times. Him and his girlfriend, they have a special needs daughter. They weren't given the tools to cope with the child, right? They've done the best they can. Services have came in and said, this is what we have to do for the child. Well, it's my wife, I'll call her back. And so, crowd participation. You know what? I'm going to put that on silent. Thank you for that. Yeah. So we have a situation that's not easy for this family, but the end result's going to be the best thing for the daughter, right? So she can learn skills, and the family can learn how to cope and deal with things. And so the blessing is the child is going to be in an environment that's conducive to her learning, to her understanding, right? The burden is on the parents who have to let this child go, right? I don't have children, I have dogs, but they're like my kids, right? I wouldn't want to see one of them go away. But for the benefit of the child, right? That's the blessing wrapped in a burden. And so all you can do is offer words of encouragement, right? And I told him, I said, look, I don't think there's one word that will solve your problem. And then it dawned on me, maybe there is, and that word would be faith, right? And faith is hard at times. It's not always the easiest thing to do, and to have faith is trying at times. And so my week goes on, and I start thinking about my brother Jarrett. And the things that we've witnessed in his life in a short period of time as a group of people, it's amazing. It's a blessing, right? Now, when Karen and I first started coming here, we were blessed by Inside Out. But Inside Out was saying, no, you guys are the blessing. And we're like, what are you talking about? It doesn't even make sense, right? Now experiencing what I've experienced with Jarrett, it makes sense. Because Jarrett is a blessing, right? Jarrett he came here and God started working right away. You know, a lot of things happened for him quickly. He got shelter, he got a car, God's working, and he keeps coming back, which is good. and then it hit me that it finally made sense, that Inside Out was saying, well, you and Karen are a blessing. I was like, well, but seeing it, now I get it, right? And so throughout that, so this was from Sunday's Love Boat to Wednesday when I saw the thing on Facebook. And I had a conversation with Jarrett last night before Bible study, you know, and then when Dale says, well, you want to talk? Yeah. But I felt strongly about blessings, right? And the way things come at you, you don't always appreciate them, right? It could be a small thing. It could be a burden. And so we are all blessed, right? I have a friend, Eric, who works under the bridge with us, and you ask him how he's doing, and he always says, blessed by the best, brother, just like you, right? And I always shook his hand and gave him a hug and was like, yeah, okay, you know, whatever. But we are blessed by the best, each and every one of us. And so when you see what God's doing, and really it's right in front of your face, you see these things, right? I know what he's done in my life, right? The blessings he's given us. But to see God working with other people, and it's different ways, you know, it's kind of overwhelming, you know. We have a young family that's struggling, and it's hard to recognize the blessing because they're losing a child. You know, not losing her, but she's going away from home, you know. South Salem. So, like, they live out south. She's going a little further out south. They have therapeutic animals. They have horses. They have goats. But they have people that understand and have the tools that this girl's parents weren't given.
Can you turn your microphone on? Or is it on?
It should be on. Yeah, can you not hear me?
This microphone is functioning for our amplification here. It's for recording on that.
I'll speak up a little bit. So, that's a blessing with a burden. But you see God working, right? He's going to give them the strength to push through this. He's put people in place to help this individual get to a better place.
The parents enjoy it better. The parents get to enjoy this better, and they don't see her being happy because she's in the right place.
Right, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
But also it depends on the person to make it there, because you can't do it by yourself. You ask God, but you also got to put your part to it.
That's right. It's a group effort. Right. And so that's what we're trying to convey to this young family, that right now, man, it sucks. You know, it's rough. But there's a blessing in the fact that this family can grow, right? This isn't a permanent thing. They can get her daughter back, and they can learn the tools to help the child cope, right? And God's working. You don't always, it's weird. When I got in my wreck, God was working with me. Didn't see it at the time, right? A lot of ribs hurting, a lot of steel plates putting in my arms and pins, and you're like, man, But the blessing was I'm still here, right? It wasn't my time. It wasn't easy. And I didn't necessarily understand the blessing at the time when I was going through it, right? Then we came here, and we hear, oh, no, you're the blessing. Well, that's weird. It was just different, right? And so when you kind of step back and you look at things, blessings happen all the time, and they happen every day. And for me, when I see things that are happening, especially with people, with Jarrett, and when I first met Jarrett, to the Jarrett that I see here today, in a short period of time, it's amazing. I mean, it's mind-blowing, right? And if you step back and you think, even the smallest thing, right? You have a flat tire, but you have a spare, that's a blessing. Right? Right? If you don't, if you go out to your car, right. If you go out to your car and it starts, that's a blessing. When it don't, I have to call Ted. Hey, Ted, come and pick me up. But that's a blessing, right? Huh? Yeah, right. But at the time, you don't really think, well, that's a blessing, right? You start your car, you just start your car and you go to wherever you're going, right? And then you get there, that's a blessing. Because things happen in life, and you don't always reach your destination. Sometimes Toyota Tacomas come and interrupt that, And we have to, there's a certain appreciation, right? You have to, so every time your car starts, you don't say, thank you, Lord, for starting my car, right? But it's a blessing. We don't always acknowledge the little things. And sometimes you kind of have to step back and think, man, it is a little thing, right? Then you see big things happening. Okay, we have another member here, Jenny. She got her housing approved, right? So God is reaching out, and He's doing things. And the things that are going on with Inside Out, the opportunities that have been given to the church, huge blessings, right? Now we have the opportunity to do more things and get more blessings, right? We don't know who's going to walk through the door next. I told Dale, I said, look, I'm coming down here for Wednesday night Bible study, and I don't know what we're talking about. I'm just here to see who comes through the door. And I still had that, right? Because we don't know. And we get people who come here, and they're blessed by being here, right? And we don't always, you're blessed that you're here, but we don't put it out there like that, right? And so, we should maybe, It's kind of crazy how from Sunday to Wednesday to today, everything kind of came full circle with me, with the conversations I was having, trying to help this young family and trying to help the man of the house keep his faith, right, and be strong. And accept the burden, but accept the blessing also. And it's hard to maybe put into words or to get him to understand these things, right? But it's not going to happen today or tomorrow, but they're there. And so when you see these things that are happening, and it's sometimes it's small and sometimes it's huge. And sometimes the burden seems bigger than the blessing. Okay? I know for me, my burden was healing, right? You have to, but God gave me the strength to heal. And He put people in place to help me heal. And the healing process is ongoing, right? And so, Alan told me once, we were under the bridge and we're down there serving our coffee and people are coming through, and he said, Tom, we are all broken people trying to help broken people, right? And that sank in, right? We're all broken our own little way. And the blessing is allowing us to help a brother who's broken or a sister who's broken, right? And some people are shattered, right? And we're trying to put those pieces back together. That's our burden. But it's our blessing to be able to help that person put their pieces back together, right? And so we, as a group, as a collective, what we're doing it inside out is a huge blessing. What we're trying to do, right? And so I don't know how much time I have or if I'm taking too long or not long enough, but oh, that's pressure. So the thing that people say, God spoke to me, and I don't. God spoke to me, right? And He talks to you all the time, right? But you don't always acknowledge it. You don't understand, right? Thanks, Keith. And or listen, right? So it occurred to me last night when I got in the truck, this is what God wants me to talk about, right? And this is what, because I understand blessings now. I understand, I have a better understanding. I don't know if I'll ever grasp it entirely, right? But when I got home, I thought, man, I just got to text Dale. I just have to tell him that I'll talk about this, right? And I don't know if you guys know today, but Jarrett's getting baptized, okay? That's huge, right? And just being baptized myself not too long ago, he says, hey, will you be able to make my baptism, And I'm like, yeah, man, I'll swim across the river to get there, It's a blessing. Huh? Well, fat floats, so I don't have to swim too hard. Yeah, but it's a blessing. It's a blessing for us to be there. Karen and I were blessed when the group of people that came to our baptism was there. And it was an outing. We were like eating sandwiches and people were joking and talking and, you didn't really think about, it's a blessing, right? And so, as this came to me, man, you start looking at the blessings that you have in your life. Little things. Car started, right? I made it to Starbucks to get a coffee, if that's where you go. Right? Some people go to Dutch Brothers, whatever. I got back in my car and it started, and I got to my destination with no hassles, right? No, I fixed that. It was an alternator, actually. So what I want to people to do, or what if take away from this, is during your week, at some point when you're decompressing, all right, stop and think about the blessings you have, right? Small things, friendship, community, right? Inside out.
Amen.
When they say little things in life add up every day, and they do. And change is hard, right? You have to go through. Humans are not, we're not good with change. We're really not, right? And we fight change. Well, at some point, maybe not fight so hard. Let that blessing come to you and help change, right? Take baby steps, right? Because life comes at you quick, and life comes at you hard. But sometimes life comes at you just right, right? And it's taken me a long time to understand that phrase, right? Life's came at me hard for a lot of years. A lot of it was my doing, right? And so, you're right, self-induced. And so, when you stop and you let God give you the blessings that you have coming, whether they're wrapped in a burden or they're wrapped in a vehicle, right?
How about when the blessings are there, but you don't pick them up?
And you just talk about stop and decompress, so you can pick up the blessings.
I was helping him.
If you, here's the thing. We don't always see the blessings. We don't always stop and pick them up, right? But that's okay because God is going to keep putting blessings in front of you, right? You might walk by 2 or 3, not even think about it. Then you come along and wow, this blessing drops in front of you, right? If you're cold, it's a coat. It's a blessing. If you have bare feet and you need socks, socks are a blessing. Yeah?
My name is Michael Kane. A lot of you guys don't know me. That child that he was talking about
I knew it was.
is my stepdaughter.
I knew it was.
It's my stepdaughter. So she basically got taken away by the grace of God. If you guys believe in that, she got taken away because we couldn't take care of her. So the grace of God took her and said, hey, look, we're going to give her another chance. That's what Tom was talking about. I was sitting in the back row back there.
Thank you, brother. All right, man. You're all right.
To say something. The happiness of what you were trying to describe to us happened to each individual for separate reasons. The way it affected all of us before you said what you were saying was that feeling of overwhelmed.
Because-
So much happened that fast.
Yeah,
What do you do?
she has autism,
Yes.
and with autism, you cannot fix
You
it.
can't, but you can't describe it to us to understand.
Correct.
And in your description was our own perception of your husband's.
In my
That
backpack
too
over
much
there.
rumble, we wanted to hear.
Correct.
But not connect, and it didn't connect so that you understood what he said.
In my backpack over there, I have a Bible. One day, a couple weeks ago, I was sitting in my apartment and I was reading out of the Bible, and I was just reading out loud, and I said to my ex, I said, Sheena, you want to go to church? She's like, fuck no, I don't want to go to church. And I told her, I said, one day, this is
Just
gonna,
drop those F-bombs.
you know?
These are blessings you have more
It's all right, brother.
Yeah.
to
All right, man. All right, that's Michael, everybody.
And part of Tom's story is my story too, because he's helped me out many, many times. And so part of his story was my story also.
Absolutely.
But you can't just be taken away with somebody, and I know bad situations, my daughter was taken away. That's after the funeral. You get to go see your daughter, and that's the Bible, all I see is blessing. But I thought you could say you open the Bible, and all of a sudden, what? Just listening, your daughter was.
I'm ready to take his action.
Your daughter was put into the best of place. What a blessing.
Exactly. What a blessing,
What a blessing. All right, brother.
you know.
Let's sit down. Let me finish here. All right, love you. Powerful stuff, right? And I talked to Mike earlier, and I said, "Look, you're part of my story." Without mentioning names, and you know, that's because it's a very personal ordeal what they're going through, right? And not all of us can relate. Not all of us have children. Not all of us have children with special needs. But we have friends and people that we know that might be in a situation.
I think this whole story is like a light on top of the hill for everyone to see, to be encouraged.
Thank you, Chris.
You know, it's stated in the Bible that it's more blessing to give than it is to receive. You know, and Tom's story here, he taught us to look for the blessing. Look, and like for instance, you might think, I don't have any socks, but I've got 2 feet, right? I received from God a healthy body, and so in this, I can be grateful and thankful. But the key to that verse that was stated by Paul, that was a quote from Messiah, means you have to first learn how to receive the blessing before you can use the blessing. So if we don't know how to recognize the blessing, how are we going to be able to give what we haven't learned to receive for ourselves? So if we open up and see blessings in the lives of others, we can recognize them. And so we can look for that silver lining in ourselves, right?
You know, I've been trying to not associate with my friends, and now that I'm gone, it seems like when I try to do good, they don't like the way I am, so they try to make me provoke me to be the same person that I always am. But I know God has something better for me. Amen. I am a Catholic.
That's all right. It's, you know, amen. You know, they say God works in. When I got hit by that Tacoma, I had, man, you know, well, first thing was life preservation, right? And then the second thing was the phone call that I received from a friend saying, hey, your story's not done, right? But when I was going through all that, it was God, but I didn't recognize it. I didn't understand it, right? So when you know that you're trying to do better, that's a blessing, right? Accept that blessing. Don't back down from it, okay? Change is hard, brother, right? And we all have influences in our life, right? People, narcotics, alcohol, tobacco. Boy, that's a bad one for me, okay? Accept that change. Accept that blessing. You're going to walk past them, man. You're going to walk past, what, 2, 3, 4 of them. It's the blessings that you pick up and that you receive are the ones that will help you the most, the ones that you'll recognize.
You know, and every human being, that's the blessing. If they don't look at it, let it go a waste instead of using it.
Right. That's our human nature. We don't always, even if it's the forest through the trees, right? You don't always see what's coming down the pipe, right?
Blessing is to be able to miss those blessings and still keep on going. That's how abundant the blessings are.
There you go. Thank you, Steve. You know, and thank you for participating. It's yes.
I believe, like you said, that people don't always use the blessings that they are given.
Mm-hmm.
But, that it takes time to learn what God is blessing you. You don't go to church and then automatically, you know, when God does bless you, you say, oh, wow, you know, He blessed me.
Right, absolutely.
That's something you learn. That's something you taught.
Right.
I was growing up in class, you know, I always went to chorus. I always loved chorus, you know. And the teacher, you know, professor, whatever, a reverend, told me that I'm an alto, a tenor. But if you have right there and you don't use it, it's going to go away. Use it when you vanish.
It's a tool, right?
And you know you have it. They have it right in the palm of their hand. They don't even understand the shit. So when it's right there, what with it? They told me I couldn't even rap, and I did it. They told me I couldn't sing, I couldn't rap. It was always there, and I worked.
And that's God working with you, right? I love people tell you can't do it. You know? People get hung up on this, what, I mean, for the most part, I don't really care what people think of me, right? I'm going to live my life. I'm going to do things. And look, man, you know, that's all right because that's God working with each and every one of us.
I know, and what's different, people, when I was doing this, they told me I couldn't do it. You suck, yo. And I can't do it.
That's a blessing.
I'm sorry.
No, you're fine, man. Believing in yourself, that's a blessing. Because there's a lot of people out in the world that don't believe in themselves anymore, right? They have that low self-esteem. You have the blessing of self-esteem. So, yeah, go ahead, Chris.
My name's Chris. I'm kind of a little evangelist kind of guy. That's why I'm on videos, right? And that's my little preaching thing. But my own personal testimony, that's my life, that I preach from my own life. Really isn't that good until like situations like today, when I'm cursed by these vexing situations. And how I respond to it is my preaching. That's who I am, who God is in me. And that is the only, what a blessing that is, to know that today I'm on the spotlight and not been blessed and not cursed. To be good in response to people, or things like that. You know? And my blessing is I sit here and I learn from you. You guys inside out that give unselfishly to people, that act up and all kinds of things. And you see that what might happen in the future. I love that. And that's why I'm trying to resist evil, you know, so that I can have some life, because my life's so pretty good. You know, a lot of my behavior. So my burden is lifting me to do better right.
And we've seen blessings for you. God's working. You know? And as long as we see that, and we learn to appreciate the blessing.
You get the blessing, but you don't know how to use it, right?
But God will help you figure that out. And I didn't know. Last Sunday, I didn't know. I mean, we were blessing the Bible all the time, right? I can't quote a verse, but they're in there.
There is an equation that if you
Right.
bless others, God will take care of you.
And so here I am, 6 days later, and I have a better understanding of what blessings are, big and small, right? Because God allowed me to learn. He gave me the tools to learn. He gave me Inside Out. He gave me Bible studies. He gave me Jarrett. He gave me Keith. He gave me Chris, okay? And the blessings that continue to happen, right? They help you grow as a person, as a follower of God. So, what's your name?
Chavo?
Chavo? I'm Tom. It's nice to meet you, brother. So things that, I didn't know. He put it in front of me. Right? We talked about it at Love Boat, and he put it in front of me. And I left Love Boat like I always do, go out front, smoking a cigarette, talking to people, thinking about it, but not really thinking about it. And 3 days later, I see something, and it hits me. This is what they're talking about, right? And so, and I've been blessed. I've been blessed with a new heart, a new clavicle. My body's healed. My mind is healed for the most part. You know, it's, and you appreciate these blessings, even if they're wrapped in a burden. Because that burden's only going to last so long. God's going to give you the tools and the strength to push through it. With that, though, you have to want to push through it. He's going to give you everything you need. You just have to do the work, right? Had to go to physical therapy. Had to go to rehab 3 days a week, you know? But he'll be with you, and he'll give you blessings along the way. And so, with that, I'll end, but I just want people to just think about the small things. Blessings don't have to be huge. A blessing can be a rainbow that you see 10 miles away, right? So just appreciate the little things, because the little things become big things. Baby steps become big steps. Big steps become strides. And even the baby steps are blessings.
The blessing of waking up is the start of the blessing.
Right, absolutely. Waking up, that's a blessing. We're blessed with that every day until we die, right? And then you die, that's the ultimate blessing, right? But while you're here living,
Our names are written in heaven, that's the ultimate blessing.
there you go.
17, it's not coming to harm us, you continue to make us have a better life.
Thank you guys for listening and participating, and it's good to see you all. All right. Thank you.